Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue to follow the athletic programs of the boys and girls in the Tulsa Public Schools. And we'll be talking football, we'll talk some basketball, and then talk some sports in general. And then, of course, we always close the show with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, as he brings us up to date on what's going on throughout the state. So stay with us here. Our first guest is going to be Tony Daniels. He's the athletic director and head football coach at Edison High School. He's coming up next on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head football coach at Edison High School, Tony Daniels. And Tony, a good win, 49-20 last week over Coweta, but it really seems like that your kids are coming together at this particular point.
Absolutely, and I think that anytime we try and schedule or I try and go out to get games, I like trying to get games that are scheduled that kind of just get, as the weeks keep preparing and we keep going throughout the weeks. Week 3, we've got Claremore that we ended up hosting. They're always a physical team, and Coach Hurt's always got them going. So it's good to start, getting those games scheduled so that way whenever the first game comes in for district play, you're ready to get after it.
Well, talk about this young man that had 419 yards on 27 carries, 6 touchdowns. Tell us about him.
Savion Morrison. He's a junior running back. He's 267 yards shy right now from our school record. And he set the single game touchdown record this last week with 6 touchdowns. And he's just done a great job of hard work. And I mean, the offseason stuff showing how much he's worked and everything that he's put into the offseason, but also at the same time, he's 267 short of Spencer Tillman's 1980 rushing record of a single season.
Well, he'll catch that, won't he?
I hope so.
If he doesn't get hurt or something.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, but hey, that would be something to break Spencer Tillman's record.
Absolutely.
And what that should
be a great accomplishment. I mean, since 1980,
yeah,
that's been there. And Spencer ended up with 4,009 in three seasons that he had. So to be in the same mention, of Spencer Tillman, that's a pretty good feat in itself.
Now tell me, did you expect this out of him when the season started?
I expected. He had rushed for 1,068 his sophomore year. I knew that he was going to break that, just knowing the kind of offseason and the hard work and everything that he's put into it. But to be where he's at right now, I would say that'd be a little bit of an understatement. I mean, I thought that he would be probably a couple hundred yards short of that, but I didn't know, especially against playing Coweta, I don't think anybody would have ever thought 419 rushing yards. That's a lot of that's a lot of yards.
Well, and it just keeps going over me because I remember so clearly Spencer Tillman and how good he was in high school, and he still comes back and puts a lot of energy into the athletic programs of Tulsa Public Schools, and to get him back and visit with Morrison would be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would be really nice.
Okay, talk about some of the other kids, because it seems like that they are beginning to hit the speed that you want them to.
Right, and this is about the time you want to start kind of.
That's right.
You want to start getting after it, and our offensive line. I mean, that's first and foremost. Savion wouldn't be where he's at without those guys that are playing up front. So, led by University of Tulsa commit and Chester Ball, who anchors our left tackle. We also have our Miko Mayfield, who starts for us at center. Fidel Barraza, Cole Cheney. We also have Whitney Aslan, a.k.a. Pork Chop, his nickname. And then we also have Gabe Sparkman, and also a tight end we have in Holden Martinson, who have been doing a phenomenal job these last couple of weeks. I was kind of looking at it today. Savion has, in the last 6 games, in 4 of those, has rushed for 200 plus yards in 4 of the 6 games. All-purpose yards, 5 out of 6, he's been over 200. So, on the offensive side, we've done a really good job of establishing the run and getting everything ready. And without the receivers in Leland Taylor and Anthony Jimerson and Torrin Walker, who have been doing a great job blocking downfield. There's a difference of getting 5, 6, 7 yards to carry, but when you're blocking downfield and it turns into a 67-yard run, that's all credit to those guys, and then the hard running by Savion.
Well, talk about the remaining games on your schedule, and you mentioned you're 2-1 in district play, and be able to make the playoffs. Talk about some of those.
Sure. Well, we have a game coming up Friday night. We have the Hale Rangers. And then after that, we play McAllister at home. We got to travel to Durant, and then we play Ada. And Ada bumping up and playing 4A from last year. Coming up, know a little bit about them and kind of know, but it's one of those things. Back in 2014 is the last time that we've made the playoffs. Before that was 2005. So 2 times in the last 18 years. So it's just something where we're just like, you know what, we're not going to really worry about the teams that we have that are coming up. Let's just focus on what we can do, what we can control, and try and help make ourselves better.
Well, do you feel like that those coming up, that you've got the opportunity to win them?
We do, and I felt like starting with Bishop Kelly a couple weeks back. We were beating them 20-17 at halftime, and had them on the ropes, yes. And we just couldn't finish. And it was good to see versus Coweta that we were able to finish the game. So every single game that we have that's left, I really feel like that we have a great opportunity and a great chance those Thursday and Friday night games to do well.
Well, when you take a look at Edison football, is it coming up down the line? Do you have feeder programs that's going to maintain what you have reached?
Well, what we've done is this year is we have first hour middle school athletics. Mm-hmm. So that allows myself and Isaiah Irvin, who's my defense coordinator, and Coach Trosper, who's our middle school coach. It allows all of us to get out there and help coach the middle school program. So not only is it just getting coached by middle school, coaches, it's also by the defense coordinator and also the head football coach that's getting out there and getting these kids prepared and getting them ready to go. So I feel like by us doing that and getting some more kids to get out there to come play football and do everything, I think that definitely leads in the right direction.
Well, Tony, it looks to me like that you've got things going the way you want them at Edison, so the future should look good.
Thank you very much. We're excited.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Kip Shaw, who's the head football coach at Central High School, next on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy. You get $150 just for switching. And every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Thanks for joining us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. As we want to welcome aboard the head football coach at Central High School, Kip Shaw, in his second year. And Kip, I'll tell you what, when we take a look at your schedule, you've got a tough one.
We do. We're in a tough district. Play 3 teams that are ranked in the top 10 in the state. I actually played the top 3 teams in our district the last few weeks, so we've got a tough one again this week in Broken Bow. Well,
last week you played Poto. They're ranked number 3 in the state. And anytime you rank number 3, you could be number 1, just as easy as number 3. So, they beat you 35-6, but when you play someone like that, that's not bad. Your kids had to play well and play hard.
They did. They played well. We're growing as a football team. I was really pleased. The only bad thing about the game is we sustained a lot of injuries. But that comes with kids playing hard, trying to make plays, do the right thing. So I feel good where we are.
Well, Kip, when we have talked earlier, this your second year at Central High School, and you really felt like within 4 years that you could be able to be back to where you want them to be. Is that pretty much headed in your direction?
I do. I feel, even though our record doesn't reflect, I think we're growing, we're getting better. Progress is being made. Of course, you have to tweak things when you have a plan. That's part of any plan. But the kids are finally realizing what you want, and you have to work in the summertime. The off season's big, and I think they're seeing that more this year with us being in this new district. Like I always tell my coaches, it didn't get broke overnight, and you're not going to fix it overnight.
That's a very good way to put it. And when you take a look at that district, then you've got Salisaw, Fort Gibson, Stillwell, Poteau, Muldrow, Hilldale. My goodness.
A lot of bus miles getting put on there, but it's a good, tough conference. It's really competitive, and that's what our kids need. They need to see that type of competition and realize this is what we're shooting for.
When you take a look at your kids that are coming up, how do they look, your sophomores, your juniors, your freshmen? How do they look coming up?
They look really good. You can really see that our off-season program, those kids that are dedicated to it and making it, their bodies are starting to change. You can see that even the attitudes of the kid, it's becoming more important to them, where in the past there were other distractions that they may focus on. But our kids are seeming to grow towards our program and realize, okay, I have a chance here. I have an opportunity. I can be successful. I can go to college. I can do whatever. And it all comes with hard work.
Kip, when you take a look at them, do you find that there are kids that in your lower class that suddenly feel like that the program that you are establishing at Central is going to help them? And then, you mentioned something that there are so many scholarships available at different level of colleges that if a kid goes and works so hard, then he might get one of those.
Exactly. You can even see, our junior highs in the school, and I see the kids in our junior high on a daily basis, and they're like, Coach, I can't wait to come and play for you. That makes you feel good because those young men have seen something in your program that they're looking forward to, and they have interaction with my older kids on a daily basis. And so it's really a neat kind of concept, kind of feeling when you see that happening now and you're building that chemistry amongst our junior high and high school players as they grow old and they just kind of grow into our program.
What kind of a feeder program do you have on down in the middle schools that will be coming in for the Braves?
Our junior high school team's really good this year. Coach Goodman and Coach Corey Matthews have done a wonderful job. They've lost one game. They're really competitive. They got some great young athletes. But these young men are finally realizing that, hey, your education is part of it too. You still have some issues you have to work out, but the kids are really, really growing, and I'm excited. I love going and watching them play on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. It makes me feel good to be out there and see them.
I've always enjoyed what you have said from year one when you talked about you knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, and your enthusiasm, your dedication is going to be there to help those kids come along, and it seems to me that is happening now.
Oh yeah, we're really growing, and hopefully, we get through and have a successful end of this year, and then as we grow into next year, things really start skyrocketing and going up for us.
Do most of your kids play another sport?
I have a few basketball players. Naturally, I encourage my kids to run track, so I have a lot of dual sport kids. I love that, that shows their athleticism, makes them more attractive to college coaches as well.
I think that so many times that in some schools that kids just play one sport. I think, how many of them are going to make a living doing that? Not that many, but if you play another sport, it just helps you kind of get yourself into a position that you can handle things in life.
Exactly. It makes it more remarkable. I tell the kids all the time, when I coached college football and I recruited, I didn't want to recruit a kid that just played one sport. I loved kids that played football and basketball. You got to see them compete at a whole different level. So it's really important that these kids play as many sports as possible.
And I get a lot of arguments on this, but it seems to me like there are less injuries on the kids that play more than one sport. Those that play just one sport, it could be wrestling, it could be basketball, football, whatever it might be. If that's the only sport that person plays, it seems like more injuries happen.
They're not using those different muscles. That's the thing. You play all those different sports, you use all types of different muscles, so it helps your body prepare for anything.
So you agree with me?
I agree with you.
Well, I know I've watched that so often, and I just wondered. I mean, most of the kids when I was coaching in basketball, they played another sport, and I really can't remember a time that we lost a game because of a sprained ankle or something. I mean, they were playing all the time.
That's what I say. That you get to use those different muscles when you play those different sports, and it really helps you.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you being aboard. Well, I wish you the very best of luck at Central. Continue, and hopefully next year we're going to start laughing about your prediction that they are going to get better, and it's going to happen.
Appreciate you having me, and I look forward to it.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Bobby Allison, who's the head basketball coach at Memorial High School, will be our next guest. Don't go away. We're coming right back.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head basketball coach at Memorial High School, Bobby Allison. And Bobby, when we take a look at what has happened with Memorial High School, your basketball program been unbelievable.
It's been a heck of a run the last, really since, I don't know, Memorial's had a lot of success over the years, and we've got a great tradition we're very, very proud of that we want to keep going in that direction.
You know, I've heard some parents, because I live in that neighborhood, but I've heard some parents talk about that wherever their friends were, if their son played basketball, they want to go to Memorial.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, we definitely have a program and an arena and a facility and a tradition that's very, the people who are a part of it, past, present, and future, that's definitely a family, and it's definitely something that people have a lot of pride in. So that's great to hear from people outside of the program.
Now, how many state championships have you won?
I've been fortunate to be a part of 4 state championship teams, and 1 as an assistant coach in 2008, and 3 as a head coach since I came back in 2014. And program's got 8 overall. We've only had, I think, 6 or 7 coaches in the history of Memorial over the 50-plus years. So we've had not a lot of turnover, but we've had a whole lot of success. And from the past, we've kind of bridged that gap, and there's really everybody's connected in the program. So we've gone to a lot of state tournaments, had a lot of great players, a lot of great fans, and a lot of great moments and memories in Memorial.
What did you do in the summer?
This summer was really productive, JV. We were able to have a great varsity summer league at Bishop Kelly. Our varsity players competed well in that. Our junior varsity played against varsity level competition at the Victory Summer League. Then our junior varsity played at Cleveland High School's team camp against 3A and 4A varsities and did great down there. Really got a lot of experience and got better. And our varsity was fortunate enough to go to Arkansas team camp at the University of Arkansas and go undefeated and win that. So with that, and a lot of good quality open gyms and a lot of players playing on some good AAU programs and good elite camps, we stayed busy. I think we got better, the coaches. We did a lot of good work together, but we also got to recharge our batteries and get ready for a great fall preseason, which has been great. A lot of good leadership from the upperclassmen. And we're in the full swing of things with practice right now. We got 1 week done, and we're looking forward to getting practices going and then scrimmaging in November.
When you take a look at your assistant coaches, you are constantly making very good comments on them.
Right. Yeah, they are an amazing staff. I'm glad you mentioned them. I've been very fortunate to be able to work with these guys. Nathan West has been the freshman coach since I've been there, and the JV coach, and he hasn't lost a freshman game as a head coach since 2015. Our freshmen have gone undefeated, went 15-1 in 2015 and 16, and then they went undefeated in 2017 and went undefeated in 2018. And then Draper Sturdivant, who's now the freshman coach, also coached the sophomore league and helped with JV, and they haven't lost a JV game since 2016. So, I mean, the kids know how to win because the coaches know how to win. Practices are very together. Everybody's pulling on the same rope, going in the same direction. And that's also traced back to our middle school coach as well, Joe Thomas, who's the head Memorial basketball coach at Memorial Junior High. He does a great job making those Memorial Junior High guys feel like they're part of the varsity program as well. So we just got a real continuity with our staff. We got trust with each other. We compete very hard against each other, but we make each other better. I mean, iron sharpens iron. You want your players to compete against each other in drills and your coaches to compete together. But we all know we're going in the same direction.
When you take a look at what has happened, do you find them coming back from the summer this year with the same motivation they had last year?
The coaches and the players?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, they do. They do because they know it's new. This is, even though we have success from the past, we're starting from ground zero when you walk in the building in August. You know, the summer kind of concludes the whole chapter of a season. And then you get probably about 3-month break in the summer. But then you come back and day one, just like in class, you got brand new assignments. So you're kind of starting at zero, and the first assignment adds up and the last assignment adds up. Well, in basketball, the first meeting in August means something. Same with the first running and conditioning and the first drills, and it all kind of adds up and culminates to hopefully the magical moments in March and getting to the state tournament's the goal. People want to talk about winning it, but our goal is to get better so we can make the state tournament.
Real quickly here, the 3 tournaments you're going to.
We got, what's really different this year, we got 2 national showcase classics we're going to. We play in Fort Worth Thanksgiving, and then we play in the Ozark Mountain Shootout in Missouri December 7th and 8th. Then we play in our tournament at Memorial the 13th through 15th of December, and then Tournament of Champions, which is as good a field as it's been, the 27th to the 29th at ORU.
Can't wait to watch you play.
It's going to be great, JV.
Thanks for coming aboard.
Very much.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Conley Phipps, head basketball coach at Booker T. Washington, our next guest. Don't go away. We're coming right back.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head basketball coach at Booker T. Washington High School, Conley Phipps. And Conley, when we take a look, it doesn't seem possible. 1st of October, full basketball practice.
Tell you what, the older I get, the faster it gets here, Coach. But, we've been going about a week, and it's been good, and we're excited about getting started.
When you take a look at it, Conley, and the fact that most everybody's players play in a summer league. So when you start your practice in October, it's not like beginning practice because they've played and they've worked, and it's just a continuation of preparation for what you're going to do during the season.
Yeah, most schools, for example, Booker T. and a lot of the area schools, we played in the summer league. We went to team camps. And so it's perpetual 12 months through the year. I mean, you're with your guys quite a bit. I open the gym in the summer 2 or 3 days a week so our guys can come in and play pickup and get some shots up. And so it's there's a lot of continuity to it for sure.
Well, kind of give us a little, just a description of the team that you're going to have and those that you had last year, those that you lost, and those coming in, and so that the fans watching can get out and watch the Hornets play.
Well, we're excited about what we have coming back. We had a pretty good year last year, not as good as Memorial, but we had a pretty good year last year. And we've got Seth Hurd, Kriston Driver, 2 seniors for us that started last year, and then Bryce Thompson, Trey Phipps, they're juniors for us this year that started last year. And, you know, we've got a host of other guys that got a chance to step in and fill a role for us. So we've got some good players coming back, really good nucleus, and we've got some good young players too. So I'm excited to see how it's all going to fit together this year.
Well, talk a little bit about your schedule.
Well, you know, we have, for the first time, Booker T's changed conferences. You know, we're no longer in the Green Country. We no longer play the TPS schools. So that, you know, there's some good and there's some bad about that. You know, Booker T's had some great rivalries for years, but, you know, with us being a 6A school for the foreseeable future, you know, we felt like we needed to play 6A competition. So we're in the Frontier Valley Conference this year. Jinx, Union, Broken Arrow, Wasso, Bigsby, Bartlesville, Muskogee. You know, so that's probably night in and night up just because of the size of those schools. That's going to be a little bit better challenge, you know, probably especially when we go on the road. We're playing the Tournament Champions again. We're excited about that. You know, I loved going to those as a kid, so that means a lot to me every time we get asked to do that. We're opening up the season down the Hoop Fest in Duncanville, big invitation-only event. So it's a honor to go down there and play in that right after Thanksgiving. And then we're in the Jinx Union tournament. So those are our 22 games. 14 of those are conference games.
When you take a look at your kids that you have coming back, kind of go through those and then those that are coming in to fill the place of those that graduated.
Well, we've got Seth Hurd, one of the best big guys in the state, true post player. You know, good rebounder, can score with his back to the basket, tough kid. You know, his perimeter skills are getting better. Kriston Driver, senior, I mentioned earlier, point guard, really good defender, brings a lot of toughness to our team, does all the dirty work for us. And then, of course, we've got Bryce Thompson, incredible player, one of the best players in the country. You know, a great offensive player, excellent defender. He's got length and size. You know, he's being recruited by multiple high majors. Trey Phipps is coming back. You know, elite shooter, can make a play off the dribble for his teammates. And then we've got a host of other guys. You know, we've got Mike McHenry and Bryce Banks, who are seniors, have been waiting their turn. You know, I've got a couple of sophomores that are playing well in the early stages of practice. You know, Cameron Parker's a freshman for us, has played really well. I.J. Johnson has played really well as a freshman. So we've got a good mix of new and old. So, you know, it's an exciting time to be the head coach at Booker T for sure.
Well, I would imagine, since you're not going to be playing the Tulsa Public Schools, that there'll be a lot of scrimmaging going on that will help you probably.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'm trying to rekindle. We're scrimmaging Edison, and we've talked. You know, I've talked to Coach Allison about, you know, we couldn't make it work this year, but playing Memorial in the future and trying to keep some of those rivalries that were so good for so many years, you know, at least keep those going as best we can under the circumstances.
Do you have any real young kids coming aboard that we have about 30 seconds that you could mention?
Well, like I mentioned, 2 freshmen, you know, Cameron Parker and I.J. Johnson, a couple of sophomores that played well, Leo Ruffin and Mason DeMint, you know, and then there's several, you know, football guys that could come out and help as well. So we'll see how that comes out after the football season's over.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck, and I know one thing for sure, I'll be watching you play.
Thank you, Coach.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Adina Milner, head swim coach at Booker T. Washington High School, our next guest.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy. You get $150 just for switching. And every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. as we welcome aboard the head swimming coach at Booker T. Washington High School, Adina Milner. And Adina, when we take a look at what's happened with you and swimming at BTW, it has been good.
It has been good.
Tell us about what's coming up this year.
Well, this year we have a big change. We went from 5A to 6A, and so we kind of worked our way up kind of at the bottom of 5A to the top of 5A last year, and so now it felt like we were starting over, but with the numbers that we have on the team and the encouragement and with harder practices and training, I feel that we'll still be able to go in and give everyone a really good race and maybe a surprise.
Well, changing classifications, good or bad, or what? How do you feel about it as a head coach?
I feel a little disappointed. I feel like it was even, but one of my philosophies as a coach that I teach the kids is you don't want to eliminate or get rid of your competition. You want to train and beat your competition. And so now it's just a time for us to just kind of change the way everybody thinks and, you know, give what it is to them, what they need to do to be better swimmers and accomplish what it is that they hope to accomplish this year. And that's not ever a bad thing.
Well, talk about some of the swimmers that you have that were with you last year and how they are contributing this year.
Oh goodness, let's see. We have, well, my whole senior class, which is a really big senior class, this class started out as 30 of them. And
30?
I had 30, they were freshmen and there was 30 of them. And they've kind of dwindled, and I think we have 15 of them left. And so about half of them. That's still a very big graduating class, but I think they're really good leaders and they're really contributing, and more than just practice-wise. They're contributing as bringing the team together, getting them prepped and ready and excited for the season, and they're really showing up for everything and just showing them, you know, this is what we're going to have to do to be a good team, to be better than we were last year. And so it's been kind of already wonderful to see, because it's, you know, September's kind of, you know, not really official practices, but they've already been there doing all that, getting them prepped and ready for now.
Well, what are the chances for another state championship?
You know, anything is possible. Sometimes people don't look for the underdogs, and so I think if they train right and they go there, anything is possible to have championships. I just think that this year it definitely is going to be a harder competition.
Well, as you look at your schedule, what is going to be the most significant part of it?
I think actually what's going to be the meet that we just kind of used to go to just to kind of prepare us to get ready for regionals is the Jinx Invitational, because they're actually a team that we'll compete against this year at regionals and state, rather than just go and have the meet to kind of get the kids ready for the format. But this is going to be actually a team that you're going to have to beat at regionals and state.
Well, will Jinx supposedly, record-wise, were they going to be as good as they have been?
I think so. I think they'll definitely be a very hard competition.
What events do you participate in that will prepare you for that? Like an invitational or what?
Yeah, definitely invitationals. We go to a few of them, and that's where you're racing against multiple teams throughout the swim community, throughout the state, which helps you kind of see who your other competition, and to swim with them to kind of see where they are, see what you need to do, and just it kind of gives you a little bit of a feel like, oh, okay, I need to really work here, you know, make my time a little bit better, or I feel pretty confident and strong, so I need to maintain this. So invitationals are definitely a very good preparation for the season.
You know, it seems to me like that swimming Jinx has been so good, but that the swimming overall You have been very good at Booker T. Washington in 5A, but it seems like that swimming has been maybe better in this section of the state than other sections. How would you comment to that?
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, definitely in the 5A, when we were in the 5A, this side of the state, very good competition. We've done very well. The 6A, something that we're just going to really have to learn and feel out. It's all new to us, so.
Well, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and put those state championship trophies back in there again, okay?
I would love to.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Coming up next, we've got Robert Biggins, the athletic director at Webster High School. That's next, Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard Rob Biggins, who is the athletic director at Webster High School, also the wrestling coach at Webster High School. And Rob, when we take a look, you are one busy man.
You better believe it, day in and day out.
But you know what? And being busy like that, you enjoy it, don't you?
I love every minute of it. I tell you, I've had a lot of jobs, and I tell everybody, if you are displeased with your job at the schoolhouse, you need to go work for the man for a while. Because once you go work for the man, you'll come back here and you'll say, this is the best job I ever have. I love it. Well, yeah, I don't know, it'd take 3 full-grown men to pry me out of here.
Well, I know that having been an athletic director myself, that there's a lot of things comes about that the public, general public, don't know about. And we were talking about some of those things a few minutes ago, and I think our audience would enjoy hearing some of the things that you are involved with that they may not know about.
Well, absolutely. The AD job really turns into just about a full-time job, and it is in addition to our other coaching responsibilities and our teaching responsibility. Yes. We're all teachers. So really one of the main things that takes a fair amount of time is eligibility. We've got to make sure that our students are passing their classes, and I've got to make that report every Friday morning, turn it into the service center so that all of our coaches know who's playing, who's not playing. Make sure that anybody who has any questions from outside can call in and say, well, you know, I think so-and-so is ineligible. No, here's our eligibility report. So that's one of the really important things. Another one, somebody has to hire the coaches. So we've got to hire good coaches. We've got to get good coaches. Sometimes that means we've got to make changes we may not want to make. But for the good of the program, sometimes we make that. Then when we get new coaches, I've got to monitor those coaches and their practices, make sure that they are adhering to all of the OSSAA rules that they need to know about. Some people, this may be their first job coaching. And if they are not online with OSSAA, then there's going to be a lot of problems for them. So that falls on to me with our new coaches. Then if a coach and a player have a problem, I get to facilitate that meeting. Then if the coach and the player need mom or dad there, then I facilitate that meeting. So we've got to make sure that everybody is treated fairly and that everything is equitable. And sometimes that can be a difficult job because on both sides there's going to be some pretty strong feelings about who gets playing time or who's doing those things. Another thing, fans will show up to our games and enjoy it. They're going to go have their nachos, their popcorn. They're going to watch the band. The JROTC is involved. And then they're going to watch the game. Well, that's the end product. We've got to get there. We have got to make sure that we've got the chain crew. So I've got to find 3 people willing to run the chain crew. I got to get 2 people in the press box minimum. I got to get 6 to 10 in the concession stand. I've got to make sure that the cheerleaders are happy. Then I've got to make sure that the band knows when they're going to do, or I know what they're going to do so that I can get that scheduled. Then the stadium has to be clean, it's got to be stocked, and it's got to be inviting and welcoming and make sure the announcer isn't saying any bad words. Then something as simple as warm-up music. Many of our students like to listen to music that you and I probably may not want to listen to, and our fans may not want to listen to. So I've got to make sure that that comes through my office and we listen to every single word on every single song so that when it's blasted out, that it's going to be appropriate. Fundraising. The money has to come from somewhere. So the amount of money that it takes to run each one of our programs is phenomenal. You talk about having uniforms, thousands of dollars every year in uniforms, and you've got 9, 10, 11, 12 sports, boys and girls, then we've got to find that money. Got to make sure that our alumni association is happy. Here at Webster, we've got a great alumni association. They always support us. And I got to make sure that I am taking them into account every time that I make a decision, because your alumni is who you are. They're what makes you great, or what made us great before. And now they're still involved. And we got to make sure that those people are happy. So that's in addition to my day-to-day job. So
I started saying now, you have other things that you're doing.
I do. So and probably just scratching the surface. There's a lot of things that go along with those things. But those are the things that just kind of came to my mind as I was making a few notes about what do I do throughout the day.
But still, Rob, it goes back to what you said a few minutes ago. The fact that as the director of athletics, it is such an enjoyable job. You don't look at the hours, you don't look at the minutes spent doing this or that. It's just the fact that it is so fine to see good things happen that you've implemented.
Absolutely, because that's what it comes down to is I've got to make a plan. I've got to get everybody in action on my plan, get them bought in, and then we start moving forward. And then the fans come in, then our community comes in. And once that starts to happen, then the great things start to happen. Kids that we didn't think would do this or that, all of a sudden they're carrying a medal around, or they're helping us hoist a trophy. Those are what you live for, and that's what I work for, and that's what I love.
Well, we want to thank you for coming aboard. Look forward to having you again, and the best of luck.
Thank you, JV.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, our next guest. We're coming right back.
From stuff you don't know how to get rid of. Go to tulsarefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. tulsarefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, as always, at this particular point and time of the year, you are busy.
Well, this is a great time of the year because we still have our fall sports coming to a conclusion, but yet our winter sports now have all started. October 1st was their first practice date. And so swimming, wrestling, and our boys and girls basketball are all in full practice mode now. As we end up tonight on the 8th of October is the volleyball regional. The state tournament will be the next weekend. Softball regionals and state were last weekend. So everything is kind of coming to a head right now, and it's one of those exciting times because the district football playoffs, loom down the road for those teams, and teams can not have a good preseason and yet get in that district and qualify for the state championship. So we're excited about it.
And it just doesn't seem possible that we're that far along here. It just seemed like school started yesterday.
I know, and it just seems like it goes by so fast, so quickly, and with all the games and everything that we've got, it's really an exciting time for our student athletes.
But as the Director of Athletics, there's always some problems coming about as more and more new sports kind of come into existence, and you're faced with that this year.
Well, I was looking last week. I was at the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association office on Tuesday. I'm on the board of the state AD's organization, and one of the things that came up was emerging sports. There are some sports out there that the association will be getting a lot of play from some schools. The one that's the most rabid right now is girls wrestling. There are girls who wrestle, but they're now wrestling on the boys' teams. But the phenomenon across the country is that the universities now are starting to add women's wrestling as one of their intercollegiate programs. The only program that we have in the state of Oklahoma is Oklahoma City University, and they have a full-fledged NAIA women's wrestling program. So, when girls look at that as an opportunity to get their college education paid for, that'll be an opportunity. I think more schools, collegiate schools, are going to have to get it where it will manifest itself in the high school, but that's certainly something that we're going to have to look at. Lacrosse is another one. that's been out there for about 4 or 5 years. That's really big on the East Coast, not very big in the middle of the country. And the other one that's big on the West Coast, that's not big here, is boys or men's volleyball. We have girls volleyball and women's volleyball at the collegiate level, but on the West Coast, the boys and men's volleyball is a big sport. So all those things go into the mix, and what we have to do is every other year we do a Title IX survey. We're bound to do that by Title IX to find out if there are interest in our schools of programs that we're not offering, and if there's feasibility for us to do that. Now, feasibility means we have to have numbers.
Yes.
You've got to have some numbers to be able to put teams together, and you have to play somebody. If you're the only one that has a girls wrestling team, you've got a problem because there's nobody else to wrestle. So, but those things will be coming, and usually on an emerging sport with the Activity Association, it takes about 3 years for it to come to the fruition of being a championship, because you have to go through the process of initiating the sport the first year, and hopefully you do that with younger students. And then you bring that forward, and if 10% of the membership sponsor teams in that area, then they can actually declare a state championship in that sport. But it usually takes about 3 years to get to that point.
Well, do you think, I have been reading and people have been talking about the number of players in football decreasing some. So would it be if those young men that are not playing football want to play another sport, could that have an impact on it?
Oh, I think so. I think lacrosse would be one. That's really big on the East Coast, and it's a pretty rough sport. I mean, it is analogous to football. There are club rugby teams as well, that are out there. We actually have a club archery team at Booker T. And I know in the area around the city here, bass fishing teams are really big. I think in Oklahoma right now there's probably over 100 schools that have club bass fishing teams, and they have a state championship and they have regional championships, and it's really big. And it's a collegiate sport. Another sport that's out there that would not be as expensive for us to start is bowling. And there's intercollegiate bowling is a big program, and they started that one with only one championship, and now they have divided it into Division I, Division II, and Division III.
Well, with the girls wrestling, it just seems like that it's kind of caught on in Oklahoma because wrestling has been so important. So do you feel like that maybe in 2 or 3 years that could be picked up by the OSSAA?
I think it would be. I think what we have to do is in the youth programs, we have to get more girls involved with youth wrestling. That's where wrestling really, I think, has fallen down just a little bit on the boys' side, because the youth programs used to be really, really robust in Oklahoma, and now they're not. And what we've seen, JV, in youth sports, which really concerns me, is that it has become a monetary issue. If you play on a travel team, you got to pay so much money to play on that team. Some of the schools you have to pay, or some of the programs you have to pay even to try out, with no guarantee you'll make the team. I heard of a softball group over in Oklahoma City that to try out you had to pay $100, and that did not ensure that you would make the team. That was just $100 to try out. So if it becomes where you have to pay to play, that becomes a problem with numbers.
Well, I can understand that, because there'll be certain schools that just could not do it because of that
well, there's students that they're not going to be able to afford that, and I think that's what's hurt baseball a little bit, is that we've gone away from American Legion and Connie Mack and Pony League and all that, and now, what we have is the travel teams, and that's it. And the same way with softball. I remember when Tulsa girls softball was a huge organization within the city of Tulsa. Yes. And today they fight just to get kids to come into their program, and that hurts the high school programs.
And you can find those nice softball diamonds empty that used to there be a game going there. Stay with us, because we want to look forward to what is happening in winter sports. That's coming up right here with Gil Cloud right after this.
When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
My dad's always saying a little extra effort now will really pay off later. Here's how you can put in just a little extra effort and help out our schools in a big way. Just switch your checking account to TTCU. It's easy. You get $150 just for switching. And every time you use your school pride card, TTCU donates to our schools. So far, over $1 million. They're the only ones doing that. So make the switch to TTCU and be the person who's making a difference for our schools.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue visiting with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. And Gil, what we were talking about, emergency sports, man, that is going to happen. But when we look forward to winter sports, it's right on us.
It is on us. You know, as I mentioned earlier, practices started October 1st. We have, I think, excellent basketball programs. Our wrestling is getting better, and of course, how much better can you get in swimming to win the state championship in one and had the boy and the runner-up in the other one? It was a great run for our swim program this last year at Booker T, and Memorial's program is starting to grow a little bit. That's the only two swim programs that we have in the city now, but we're looking forward to that. Of course, boys and girls basketball, you know, it's pretty tough to come over to the east side and play in TPS with basketball. We've had such a great run in 5A and now 6A as Booker T moves back into 6A and returns 4 starters off of the team that was the runner-up in 5A last year to Memorial, which was the champion. And of course, Coach Allison, I'm sure, talked about his players earlier today on the show, the 2 Boone boys that have already committed to Oklahoma State University and the supporting cast he has. But I'm going to tell you, with a balance across our program in basketball is really good. I'm excited about the re-emergence of our girls programs. I think our girls programs are going to get back across the board. You know, East Central has been really good. Booker T won the state championship last year, has been really good. Memorial has had flashes there. You know, Rogers in 4A really did well, you know, in 4A. But I think all of our teams, we have new coaches at 3 of our schools, and we'll be seeing them on the show here in the next 3 or 4 weeks as we get into basketball season. But I'm really excited about where we're headed in the winter.
Well, you know, when you look at it and look at the conferences that have developed, that it's going to be an interesting winter of basketball.
Well, you know, it is, because what's happened, you know, in the Green Country Conference, which is the Tulsa Public School Conference, with Booker T leaving and going to the Frontier Valley, we have 8 schools now. So that's great for scheduling, because you have a good scheduling mix in there. You don't have that odd one school out. And so those matchups are really going to be good. And can you imagine for Booker T those matchups when you'll be playing Union and Jinx and Broken Arrow and Owasso, you know, Bartlesville, Sapulpa. I mean, there's going to be some really, really good basketball games in the city of Tulsa this next year, and we're excited about that.
And you know what you said about the conference coming back to 8 teams. That means that almost every night, as you look at that schedule, you can't pick the winners.
It's going to be difficult because you got to play. You know, a home court makes a big difference, I think, in our league. And I think our athletics directors and our principals, they know that, and they get their students, you know, ready to come to a home game and play. Basketball here has really become a very important sport in the winter for us, and I think that if you want to see some quality student athletes, I mean, it's amazing the level of talent that you can see. You know, you and I came last year to Webster to see a game and had a young man score 52 points for the other team. And yet there were 8 or 10 college coaches at that point. And of course, that young man is at Pittsburgh State now, and I think will be a contributing player. Webster has a young man at UA Fort Smith, which is a Division II program in the Heartland Conference as well. And we've got them all over. You know, they go to college, and that's one of the great things I think that we do in winter, in February, when we have National Signing Day, when we recognize all those students. Last year, we had 85 student athletes that signed letters of intent to go and play another year in college, which extends their athletic career, but also their academic career.
Don't you think a lot of the increase in interest in basketball has come about because of the summer programs? It just seems to me like that there are so many teams playing in a summer league across the United States, not just here. As a result, the interest has increased.
I think it has. That is an ongoing problem for us.
Yes.
The AAU, we're not exactly happy about all that goes on in AAU basketball. The summer league program. Matter of fact, we talked about this at length at our AD's meeting last week about what is the right amount of time that a coach should spend with their student athletes and what is not. You know, the way it is now, you can have summer league basketball, for instance, and you can coach your players. You can't have practice, but you can coach your players in summer league, and you can play from the time your school's out until July 1st. So, you know, we have a lot of teams that'll play 20, 25 games during that time, and that gives those young kids coming into the program an opportunity to get better and blend in with the older student athletes. But the problem is the AAU, where they travel all over the country.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they'll be in Miami, and they'll be in New York City, and they'll be in Los Angeles, and they take them away from playing on that school team. And those are the things that concern us. We even talked about the possibility of why not we just do away with the rules for coaches and let them coach their players, but they can only coach their players. They can't coach
bring in people.
Right, which is what happens
Yes.
with the AAU. I mean, they come from Lawton, they come from Oklahoma City, they come from all over to play on this one team. And I know Mick Wilson, my assistant AD for compliance, has told our basketball coaches once, if he's told them 100 times, I just wish you'd work as hard with all of our kids as you work with all the other kids. I think that's one of the things that we need to get to get this thing under control, because it is a little bit out of control right now.
Well, I think it is totally out of control, and I don't know how that the loyalty that was once so great, I don't know how that exists today.
Well, what the AAU does, it just promotes individualism.
Yes.
You know, somebody told me the other day, said, you know, I don't want to coach the summer league anymore because it's turned into AAU. It's run them down the court and I shoot.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, listen, we've enjoyed it. Went by very quickly. I had a lot of other questions I want to ask you. So at the next show,
we'll get them next time.
All right.
Thanks, JV.
Stay with us. More coming up right after this.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Thanks for being with us today on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Hope you enjoyed the show. And as always, we want to encourage you to get out and support the boys and girls athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. And we'll be seeing you again right here again in 2 weeks as we continue to follow athletics in the Tulsa Public Schools. So be sure to join us 2 weeks inside Tulsa Athletics.